Yo, what's going on, guys? So today we're gonna go do a leg day. This is gonna be really different for a lot of you guys if you're gonna watch through this video. This has a lot of different exercises that I've found this summer that are super beneficial. If you have knee pain, if you have issues feeling your legs during legs, if you get back pain, if you don't really feel your legs very well when you're doing legs, that's a problem that I used to have when I first started training. This workout's gonna be super beneficial for you. So if that's you, make sure you watch this video and listen to the commentary on it so you know how to perform the exercises properly. Let's get to it. So the first exercise we did was the Nordic hamstring curl. This is a really good way to build the strength of the hamstrings and also to prevent injury for athletes. So what we're doing here is slowly lowering ourselves down, holding with our hamstrings, and then when we get to a point where we can no longer hold, we're going to just push off or pull ourselves up. This exercise is really difficult at first, so you're going to need to push off quite a bit. But once you get used to it for a little while, you'll be able to do this exercise without even pushing off of anything. And that's the final goal with this exercise. You should feel it really in the hamstrings, and you might feel some of this in the back as well. But try not to bend at the hips. Try to let the hamstrings do the curling here. So when we first start with this exercise, we might find that we can't hold on for long before we want to give out. And that's totally okay. So what we're going to do is just control the motion where we can. So I told him just at the very beginning, control it and then let yourself fall down. And then push yourself back up to the spot where you can control it. And then perform the rest of the curl there. We're going to slowly build a bigger range of motion with this exercise, and it's totally fine if we don't have much at first. Just control what you can, and this exercise will work for you and build strong hamstrings in no time. So the next exercise we did was a split squat using a band to pull our knee to the side. I use this exercise for a lot of prehab, so this is sort of to avoid injury. And to build really strong stabilization with the legs, and also it'll just help you control the squat a lot more, and build a lot more confidence with the squat as well. So I'm sitting back into a lunge, and then I'm stepping back up, getting balance, flexing that glute through, and getting that leg straight every rep. So here we had Justin doing the split squats with the balance band. We really wanted to slow the motion down here and have him control. It's really kind of an awkward movement to perform at first because your stabilizers around your knees usually are pretty weak if you haven't trained them, and most people haven't trained them. So it might feel awkward at first, but you can see he's slowly getting the groove of it, and he's slowly becoming more stable at it, and it's like flowing a little bit better as he goes through the set. And I'm sure weeks in, this will be absolutely looking completely great for him. So the next exercise we did was one set of 10 of a low box pistol squat stand-up. So here I was basically telling him that we're going to be driving into the ground before we even stand up. So that bottom leg should be flexed and ready to explode. The foot should be digging into the ground before we even begin going up with this motion. And then the other leg should be straight out in front of us with that quad flexed. And then we're going to sit down with both legs, obviously. And what I'm doing is giving myself a little bit of a push just to get up. And it's going to help, that's going to just help us get through that very initial movement. And this is just a way to work into building up into the full pistol squat, where we can completely sit down and stand up with just that one leg in the pistol squat formation. So it's a really good exercise for building stabilization in the legs and making sure the legs are working evenly. A lot of times I find that one of my legs, it's easier for me to do this than the other leg, and this really builds that balance so our legs are evenly strengthened. So next up we did front squats, and we did 4 sets of 3 This was my top set at 275, and I actually only got 2 reps here. So after this, I dropped down to 245 and finished the rest of my sets at 245. So here's the set. So this is Justin's last set of front squats. We did a lot of thoracic mobility with him today, and that allowed him to get his elbows much higher and get him into a much more comfortable position. You can see here he's having a pretty easy time keeping his elbows up. Still not perfect, but it's looking a ton better than the first 3 sets did. Just thoracic mobility is huge for front squats, guys. Next up, we did RDLs, and we did 4 sets of 8 reps here. I used 315 here, and I really like to focus on the exhale when I'm pulling up and the inhale as I'm going down. And I let these kind of go fast. I didn't think about tempo too much. Hamstrings were feeling really good, so I just loaded up the weight and really felt these out. 3 sets of 8 felt really, really good after the Nordic hamstring curls. I think make these feel absolutely amazing in training. So what we did here is we used a band to help Justin with his hinge. And your hinge is basically when you push your butt back and you feel your hamstrings load up and like as if they're ready to slingshot. And it helps you really with the hip drive, and it helps you use the whole posterior chain. So we used the band here to help him get used to that initial hinge with starting this motion by driving the butt back and loading the hamstrings. So that is the most important part, I would say, for a beginner with this exercise, is to get used to pushing back and feeling the hamstrings load, and trying not to use the back to pull this movement, but using the back of the legs and the glutes to drive through and make this motion really easy. So next up, we're hitting Sissy Squats here. I have the box back behind me so I can use to keep myself stable if I need to. You'll find I need to a few times here because I haven't done these in a little while. So right here, we're trying to drive our knees out in front of us, getting a really good quad stretch. And as you can see, from the top of my knees all the way to my head is really straight. We want to keep that all straight while we keep the core tight. And we drop down, and as we're dropping down, we want to feel the quads stretching and then driving them back and giving them a good flex at the top. So here's Justin performing the same exercise. I had him do it a little bit higher so he could control the whole motion. And this is a really good way for someone who's new to this exercise to do it, is to just raise what they're aiming for, but also have something on the ground so they can aim for something. And also remind them to keep his core tight and to try to keep a straight line from the top of his knees, his quads, all the way through his head. It's a really awesome exercise for the quads and to avoid knee pain. So we finished off with some calves, but my camera died, so we didn't get those on film. Here we're doing anterior tibialis curls with a band. So I just put a band up on my toes and I curled my shins back. This is super good for the knees and knee health. So this is the last thing we did, was an ab circuit. And here we tied 2 cables to our feet and we did reverse crunches, hanging reverse crunches. And we did a set of 8 here, so we went heavy. And then we finished it off with Russian twists until failure. And I went for, I think, 50 here. The really big thing here is breathing on your way to the middle and then exhaling as you're twisting. So you breathe in as you're coming up, and then as you're twisting, you exhale. It's going to feel like you're breathing kind of fast, but if you can focus on your breath during this, it makes them go by really fast, and you don't even think about the exercise in general. And then we finished it off with knee up crunches. Same thing here, we're breathing as we come down and then exhaling as we crunch forward. We're crunching forward and almost reverse crunching at the same time. And we did 3 sets of this exercise. And here's Justin performing the same thing. So we did 8 reps again with hanging reverse crunch. Then we had him do the Russian twist and the knee up crunch as well. So this first exercise is really good for stabilization and strength. And these last 2 are really just going to burn out the abs and shred the abs. We had him do 50 Russian twists here. That's what I'm telling him. And then had him focus on his breath here as well. I think it's the best thing you can do during abs is focus on your breathing. And then we finished it off with the knee up crunches as well for Justin.